In today's video and breaking news, Erika Kirk speaks out, Charlie Kirk's wife. It's such a touching statement. Secondly, the president has confirmed that he is going into Memphis with National Guard. You have to see the reactions. And finally, there's a major update from the governor of Utah. In all these stories, we'll show you what both sides are saying and then give you the bottom line.
I first want to thank the local, state, and federal law enforcement who worked tirelessly to capture my husband's assassin so that he can be brought to justice. I want to thank the first responders who struggled heroically to save Charles's life, and the police who acted bravely to make sure that there were no other victims on that terrible afternoon. I want to thank the officers who have protected our Turning Point USA family these past 2 days. And I want to thank the Turning Point USA board, the COO, Justin Strife, and my husband's chief of staff, the amazing Mikey McCoy, for all their work in these terrible days to be the stability for our family and for the wider Turning Point USA family as well. My heart is with every one of my husband's employees who lost a friend and a mentor. I want to thank the staffers of his amazing Charlie Kirk show, who helped him broadcast from this studio, this chair. Every day he loved it. He loved what he did. I want to thank the millions of people who have shown their love for Charlie here in Phoenix, across America, and worldwide. I want to thank my husband's dear friend, Vice President Vance, and his phenomenal wife, Usha, for their love and support. You guys honored my husband so well bringing him home. You both are tremendous. I want to thank President Trump and his incredible family for the same. Mr. President, my husband loved you. And he knew that you loved him too. He did. Your friendship was amazing. You supported him so well, as did he for you.
Yeah, I don't even have the words to respond to what she was saying. It's just so emotional. I can't imagine how she feels, the strength it takes for her just to stand up there and do something like this. I mean, I can't say enough the work that God is doing for her, the family, and giving her the strength to do something like that. So I just want to quickly say here, because I know you guys have seen us do the T-shirt, the coffee mug, and now the sweater. This is in an effort to raise funds to donate to Turning Point USA and the family. Whatever they're going to do with it, I'm sure it's going to be to continue his legacy and the mission of Turning Point USA. We're not taking any profits from that. All the proceeds are going to that. So we'll have the link in the description below for that. If you guys want to donate in that way, there's other ways to do it. You could go to Charlie Kirk's website if you don't want to do it through us. But I had to tell you guys that as well. Now, let's go to our other story of today. And as I told you, National Guard is heading to Memphis. And here's what the mayor had to say.
We know the National Guard is coming. My plan is to make sure that as mayor, I'm able to work with this community, with the governor, with the federal government, to ensure that the support that is provided supports the initiatives that we know work and not distract from our law enforcement efforts. There are questions that you all have that I'm not going to be able to give you an answer to today, but my team and I will be discussing those questions with the governor and the federal government. When will they come? How many people are going to come? How long will they be here? What are they going to wear? Where are they going to be geographically in the city? What assignments will they have? Those are all questions that we have and that we are going to work through together as a community. And the group that you see here today, as I mentioned earlier, it represents a diverse range of Memphians. I can tell you there are some that support it and some that don't. But we're all right here together today.
Yeah, so that was the mayor of Memphis giving a press conference, and his reaction to Memphis being the next city that the National Guard is being deployed to, including additional federal resources to crack down on the overdue crime issue that has plagued that great city. We know Memphis has so much history, and it's just sad what it's become, just like Chicago, just like New Orleans. I mean, we can go down the list. And the fascinating thing about this announcement is how he reacted. Now, I'm going to show you more of what he had to say, but first, here's what the president said this morning.
I think maybe I'll be the first to say it right now again. We're going to Memphis. Memphis is
That's the next city.
Deeply troubled. And the mayor is happy. He's a Democrat mayor. The mayor is happy. And the governor, Tennessee, the governor is happy. Deeply troubled. We're going to fix that just like we did Washington. I would have preferred going to Chicago. I had a man in the head of a big railroad. They're doing a merger, and he wanted to come see me and all that stuff. He's on the board of FedEx. He said, when I walk 1 block to my hotel, they won't allow me to do it. They put me in an armored vehicle with bulletproof glass to take me 1 block. He said, it's so terrible. I said, let me ask you a question. So we're going to Memphis. I'm just announcing that now, and we'll straighten that out.
National Guard?
The National Guard and anybody else we need. And by the way, we'll bring in the military, too, if we need it. But National Guard. But Memphis is, look, it's a great music city. It's, home of Elvis and everything else. But I said to him, where else should we go?
So that was the president earlier this morning confirming that they're going to Memphis with federal resources and the National Guard to help that city crack down on crime. You'll see what the mayor had to say, which I thought was a professional response, by the way. And the troubling thing already about this, once again, is that only one side of the political spectrum in the media wants to talk about it. That's why I have Ground News here on the screen. I encourage you to use a tool like Ground News like we do, because we like to see what both sides are saying. And as you already know that we've seen, there just continues to be a full press propaganda operation with mainstream media. They don't want to tell people what's really going on in our country, but we're going to help you guys see it. And Ground News will help us do that. Now, I just told you 33% of the sources that lean right are reporting this, and 67% are in the center, and 0% lean left. Now, why won't these left-leaning sources talk about crime going down? I think I have an idea.
I mean, look, we do not want to see our community being occupied by the military, and we don't want to see over-policing. The solution to the problems that are being articulated is not to increase the number of police, is to increase the number of resources to actually reduce poverty, to actually educate our population, our children, for the opportunities of the future, and is to make sure that people have a living wage so that some of the crimes that they commit literally for the need to survive do not happen. We know that gun violence is one of the most significant issues and epidemics in our country. I got expelled because of it. Right? Children under 18 are most likely to die from a bullet than cancer or car accidents. That means laws have to change at the state level. That Governor Bill Lee, Speaker Sexton, Lieutenant Governor Rand McNally need to work on to reduce the amount of access people have to firearms, and that reduces ultimately the amount of crimes that get committed. But you can't pass laws that say, hey, it's okay for you to have guns in your car, and then you complain about people breaking into cars for the firearms that they find there. We have to deal with the systemic root causes of the problems, and Black communities should not be the place and the pawns for an authoritarian, wannabe dictator, white supremacist game. And that's what we're finding right now with Donald Trump and Bill Lee.
Yeah, see, I don't know what world he's living in. He sounds like he's part of the Black Panthers, and this is in the 1960s or something. You would think as a Black individual, you would care about Black lives, and so you would want to work with the administration. But I'm telling you, we live in two different Americas. That's why I want you guys using Ground News, because it shows you what both sides of those two Americas are saying, especially in the media. Now, the other cool thing about this tool, it gives you the bullet points of the story without the spin. For an example, this decision comes after Tennessee Governor Bill Lee expressed on September 3rd that all options remain open for addressing local crime through the use of federal and state resources. If you guys want to get the full picture of what's being reported, use a tool like Ground News.
So if you want to use this tool for yourself, all you have to do is go to ground.news/Devori, or you could download the mobile app. Just use promo code Devori, and it's going to give you access to everything that I showed you in this video, including 40% off the Vantage plan.
And so our resistance has to be vocal, it has to be clear, it has to be coordinated, and it has to show people that we are serious about defending our democracy. These are not benign acts. They are all intentional in an effort to let us be lulled to sleep as our country moves from a democracy into an authoritarian dictatorship. This man cares only about his power, keeping it at all costs, and running through any community and hurting all the people as he does it. In D.C., they brought the National Guard, but you know also who came? ICE. We are going to see this repeating over and over again, the terrorism of our communities.
So who knew? Additional federal resources, more police officers, and National Guard support is terrorism in your cities. Not illegal aliens raping and committing pedophile stuff and robbing people and, taking away resources and jobs, because we know the city has to fork out more money for illegal immigration. We talked about how Chicago spent $1.8 billion on illegal immigration, more than on veterans, more than education, and more on policing. Let's get real here. I'm telling you, this guy, he's living in a different America. That is for sure. But I do commend the way the mayor responded to this announcement. Here's more what he had to say.
Because one thing we do have in common is a love for this city. Yeah.
President Trump this morning on Fox and Friends said that you were happy about this. Would you say that that statement is accurate?
Yeah, that was an overstatement. I am focused on the resources. FBI, DEA, ATF, those are the things that I believe will truly help us be able to support law enforcement and reduce violent crime. I do not support the National Guard. However, they are coming. It's not the mayor's call. The mayor doesn't have a say or the authority to stop them from coming. And so my goal is to make sure that as they come, that I have an opportunity to work with them to strategize on how they engage in this community.
And ladies and gentlemen, that is how you're supposed to respond when you disagree with the president. He's not bending the knee. He's not capitulating, as Kamala Harris would say. He's being a leader. And in times of crisis, especially when there are disagreements, it's not the time to act like a child and talk about, oh, we're going to lose our democracy and our neighborhoods are going to be terrorized. It's, hey, let's see what we can get out of this. The federal government wants to use taxpayer dollars to help us out. Let's see how we can make this happen. That's the right mindset. Now, okay, so now we move to our second update. This is another story flying under the radar, given the assassination of Charlie Kirk. We're talking about what happened today in Chicago. An ICE agent was almost run over by an illegal alien. He tried to kill him, and the ICE officer had to respond by shooting him. Let's hear more on that now.
Yeah, Martha, this traffic stop was part of the ongoing Operation Midway Blitz. And DHS tells us that this morning, just outside of Chicago, in Franklin Park, a team of ICE officers stopped a criminal illegal alien's car to arrest him. The man, Severio Villegas Gonzalez, allegedly has a history of reckless driving. And when ICE ordered him to get out of his car, he refused and tried to get away by driving his car into the agents. He ended up hitting one of the officers, who was afraid for his life as he was hanging onto the front of the car and dragged for what we're told is a significant distance until he was able to shoot and kill the suspect. Sources tell Bill Malusian that the officer suffered multiple lacerations and significant leg injuries, but is now in stable condition and is expected to be okay.
Yeah, now my question is, where are Democrats? Aren't they going to defend this guy? Okay, when you're talking about the word terrorism and that your neighborhoods are being terrorized, and you got someone like this in your neighborhood, he's not terrorizing your neighborhood, ICE agents are. Again, I'm going to keep saying it. We live in two different Americas, but this is another story that one side is going to ignore. They don't want to talk about stuff like this, okay? There are American citizens putting their lives on the line to keep our country safe, and this is what they're dealing with. But hey, they shouldn't have masks on. They shouldn't be going into neighborhoods. We shouldn't be collaborating with them. That's how Democrats think. Now, I'm glad the ICE officer was able to survive all of this, of course. Yeah, it's just interesting, especially what happened down the street when this took place. Take a look.
At almost the same time that was happening, not too far away, dozens of activists were protesting outside of ICE's main processing center, trying to block off the entrance to the facility so that federal agents couldn't bring in individuals who had been arrested. A special response team had to be sent out to clear the driveway so that federal agents could once again get inside. And in the wake of this fatal encounter, ICE is calling out activists, saying viral social media videos and activists encouraging illegal aliens to resist law enforcement not only spread misinformation, but also undermine public safety, the safety of our officers, and those being apprehended.
See, that's the thing is when the left fights exists in reality and they try to force this to not happen, they actually end up making things worse. If they would just work with the administration, they wouldn't have to go into neighborhoods this way. ICE wouldn't have to operate this way because the local PD would already have arrested these people and they would just be handing them over. But they don't want to do that. They want to make it hard because they're trying to dig in on this whole political statement that what ICE is doing is terrorizing our neighborhoods. And that is just so far from the truth.
We don't know much about this man except what ICE has released. A spokesman from the Department of Homeland Security said in a statement that the individual was undocumented, was here illegally, and that he had a history of reckless driving. And that's basically it. We've not been able to find any kind of criminal record associated with this individual, and officials have not released any other information. All day, for the past several hours along this road, we saw FBI agents actually were out here collecting evidence. They are investigating the fatal shooting. But as of this morning, we had such little information, and that still stands at this point. Much of the scene has been cleared.
Now, as you can see, CNN is covering this story differently, right? It's almost as if they're trying to suggest that ICE was up to something nefarious because they haven't released additional information on the guy. What more information do we need? The guy was an illegal alien. They attempted to detain him like they're supposed to do and get him out of this country. He tried to fight back, tried to actually kill an ICE officer. And as a result, he was shot in the process. What more information do I need? But this is how CNN likes to cover stories. They always cast that doubt in our federal officials, especially law enforcement, during the Trump administration. They continue to cover things in this way.
Now, schools in the area were locked down as a result of this. We tried to go to the man's family's home. No one was there. The governor issued a statement and saying that he wants more information and that more transparency needs to, more information needs to come back. And that's what needs to come out. And that's what many of the advocates that we've seen out here, Jim, today, they were talking about that they want more information from ICE officials. You know, many of the people in these communities have been on edge here over this threat of ICE operations, all of this happening as this feeling of uneasiness in these communities has been going on all week.
I sound like a broken record, two different Americas. So they want us to believe that there are people feeling uneasy because illegal aliens are going to be detained and deported. But they don't feel uneasy about the existing crime, whether that is with gangs or what's always been going on with Chicago with these children killing each other. They don't feel uneasy about that. They don't feel uneasy about the lack of resources, especially the investment in education and policing because it's been going to illegal aliens. No, they feel uneasy because ICE is doing the job. I just find that so fascinating. All right, and so now we get to our latest update as it pertains to Charlie Kirk's shooter, also known as Tyler Robinson. More information has come out, including evacuating the homes around his house where he lived, and also some backlash from congressional leaders who are continuing to go out there and say some disgusting things. Let's start here.
We were preparing to go live and show you this all on air, but moments ago, police told us that we had to evacuate the area, that they got some type of concerning information basically directly in front of or around the family home. We're not certain what that concerning information is, but there was also a chopper above, and authorities told us that we had to clear the area. So that's why I'm on the phone right now. We're not able to show you this on camera.
All right. So, yeah, that was a major update earlier today, including now, just moments ago, the governor of Utah did an interview with Brett Baer. And the bottom line here, he asked him point blank, Did Tyler Robinson act alone? Here's what he said.
Do authorities believe that Tyler Robinson acted alone?
Yeah, yes, Brett. They're very confident right now. Obviously, the investigation is ongoing. They're still following every lead. We appreciate the public who has reached out, but every piece of evidence we have so far makes it very clear that the assassin acted alone.
Yeah, so that's what the governor had to say. I'm more inclined to believe what he is saying at this point until I see some more concrete evidence that contradicts that. You have these dumb conspiracies online talking about Israel was behind it. Can you show some proof to that, please? I mean, that's how delirious some people are at this point. I mean, they hate Israel that much. And I'm not getting into that whole thing. I'm just telling you guys, that's what's floating around right now. Some people still think it was a professional hit. Who knows? But at this point, they have him in custody. They say he confessed. The family members brought him in. I mean, I don't know what else you want. Okay. Now, the governor also spoke to what he believes the true motive was behind all this. Take a look.
Yeah, well, with the big picture, I think is pretty clear. This is someone who hated Charlie Kirk and hated his message and hated what he was doing, and decided to use political violence to end his life. And that is, as I said earlier, that's not just an attack on Charlie Kirk, which is devastating, and our hearts are broken for him, for his family. I've had a chance to talk to his parents, just devastating. But it's the reason you're spending so much time on this, the reason every media outlet is spending so much time on this, the reason I'm talking to you about this is that this is an assault on not just him, but on all of us. It is an assault on the very fabric of our country, of our democratic republic, of our ability to speak freely. And we cannot take that lightly. It is the most serious abdication of our responsibility as citizens that exists, and we have to snuff it out.
Yeah, see, hatred can get you to do some crazy things, some vile things, some heinous things, and we've seen it throughout history. So to believe that this kid is not capable of doing this, I think would be a little naive. Now, again, you guys can debate, did Antifa support him in this way? Did they prep him? Did they train him? Did they provide him with the weapon and the means and the planning? That's possible. I'm likely to believe it based on the engravings on the cartridges, for sure. But bottom line is Charlie Kirk is gone. Our country is grieving over this. It's a terrible loss, but we need to continue to push his legacy forward. We need to continue to get people to understand how to agree, to disagree. And we need to continue to impress upon the younger generation that they are going to be the leaders of the future, and they can make it happen. They can change our country around. And I think Charlie did a great job of that. Now, let's get to, I think, the most serious question of it all. Is the governor going to still seek the death penalty? Take a listen.
Today, President Trump said there should be quick trials in some circumstances, and this could be one of them. Do you believe, if convicted, Tyler Robinson will face the death penalty in your state?
Well, certainly we are going to be seeking the death penalty. I said that before. We're working with the prosecutors as well to get that information ready so that they can pursue that. What I will also say is that we believe very strongly that the victims need to play a role in these conversations. And so in the days that come, the prosecutor will be having conversations with Charlie's family. I always worry that they get lost in all of this, and I want to make sure that in these conversations, it's not about me. It really is about the Kirk family and Erika and their kids and Charlie's parents, his sister, all of the family, that we have those conversations. But that is certainly the intent here in the state of Utah.
Okay, so there you go. That's one of the latest updates so far. And now we go to some of the reactions that's been continued to come out from the left that I find to be disgusting. You know, sometimes you just don't have to say anything at all. I remember my mother used to tell me all the time, "Yeah, I have nothing nice to say, just don't say anything." All right, I've always been an introvert, more quiet, so I really don't have a problem with that. But for some people out there, I just believe they just, but for some people out there, I suppose they just can't help themselves. Here is Nancy Pelosi saying this about political rhetoric that is turning violent. Take a look.
People don't have any intention of saying something that's going to lead to something dangerous, but we cannot take responsibility for the minds that are out there and how they hear it.
That is continuing to be a talking point from a lot of Democrat congressional leaders. They are now shifting to the idea that, hey, political rhetoric doesn't really turn into violence. We are not responsible for that. We don't think that's ever going to happen. In fact, your favorite Congresswoman, Jasmine Ghetto Crockett, said that this morning on the Breakfast Club. Take a look.
We've got to talk about like what it means when you're running for president or you're running for one of these higher offices and you go out there and you talk about beating people up. You go out there and you say things like, I could shoot somebody in the middle of the street in New York and I could still win. We got to talk about like that. That is next level. Me disagreeing with you, me calling you, I want to be Hitler. All those things are like not necessarily saying go out and hurt somebody. But when you're literally telling people at rallies, yeah, beat them up and that kind of stuff, like you are promoting like a culture of violence. So we need to talk about like what it looks like when you don't promote a culture of violence.
People like her need a lesson on mindset, particularly the way the actual mind works, the intellect, the difference between somebody's conscious mind and subconscious mind, how they receive information, especially through repetition. And what she is failing to realize is when she speaks those words, she may not actually be meaning physical harm. But for the person who hears it, their belief system has led them to receive it in a way that means physical harm. That's just something that they don't understand. And instead of taking responsibility, they would rather say, well, hey, it's not really our responsibility. It's really not our fault. That's on them. No, you're the one in front of a microphone. There are consequences to the words that come out of your mouth. There's no question about it.
Educators who have been praising Charlie Kirk's murder, well, now they are being taught a lesson. School districts are now punishing teachers who, believe it or not, have been celebrating the assassination online. In Greenville, South Carolina, Southside High School social studies teacher Wynn Bollock, well, he was fired after posting this, quote, "Thoughts and prayers to his children, but IMHO, America became better today. There, I said it." In Framingham, Massachusetts, King Elementary special ed teacher Samantha Marengo posted this video of herself singing God Bless America and dancing, as you can see, as a television news report played reports about Kirk's killing. That was shown in the background, and at one point you saw she zoomed in on the word dead. That video has since been deleted. The district would not comment on her employment status, but did say they are addressing the situation, quote, "As a district, we are committed to fostering a safe and respectful environment for everyone. We do not condone violence or hateful behavior in any form." In Oskaloosa, Iowa, high school art teacher Matthew Krolig, well, he was put on administrative leave after allegedly posting derogatory comments also. The school district saying it is investigating too. Meanwhile, down in Florida, the Florida Department of Education says that teachers could lose their jobs if they post offending remarks about Kirk, saying although teachers do have a personal First Amendment right, the board says their view should not, quote, undermine the trust of the students and families that they serve. And such posts, the board says, could be a violation of state law.
And that's why I posted this earlier on X. And it came from a post from Charlie Kirk, 2016. You can tell a lot about a person by how they react when someone dies. It speaks to their character, their state of mind, their belief system, the way they see the world. It pretty much tells you where they're at. And the fact that you have a part of this country who is celebrating this, that is more troubling. That right there is frightening. That right there is a sickness, an evilness within our country. And the only way to solve it is through love. That's what those people need to exercise. They need to change their paradigm from hatred to understanding. And at least at the very basic level, even if you don't understand what the other side is saying, just agree to disagree and walk away. Sometimes you don't have to pour your feelings out on social media.
The President of the United States.
I know what you're asking.
Who assigned blame entirely to one party. When you know the facts show that sadly, people claiming affiliation with both left and right have committed horrible acts of violence.
Sure. But you know what? If the roles were reversed, Democrats, rightfully so, would say Republicans need to tell people on their side to calm down. I have not seen a significant number of Democratic leaders calling for people on their side to calm down. And again, I have seen a ton of social media posts of people applauding this. That's insane to me.
But that's actually not true.
Insane.
You've
Not
had
from sitting lawmakers.
Yeah, sitting lawmakers, Democrats, almost immediately, and I think they felt a pressure to make sure they were very clear not to condone this, to call it out. And again, in previous times, I mean, again, I think about when Reagan was shot. I mean, leadership is about how you react in a moment of crisis. And time again, this president uses crisis to further divide, to do the us versus them, instead of calling to our better angels. Again, I thought Governor Cox did a beautiful job of trying to model that this morning.
This is how my mind works. Let's say what she was saying is true. The president is divisive. He's always stirring stuff up. Then at a basic level, if we exercise some emotional intelligence, why do you guys react to it? If you think you have the moral high ground, if you think you're so right, why are you guys not setting the example? Why do you guys stoop to his level? That's my thing about how they've always reacted to Trump. They also use him as a justification to excuse them of their terrible behavior. That's not going to work. You can't have it both ways. So if you're going to accuse the president of being the reason why we're so divisive, and you're also going to use him as a justification to say why you're divisive, you already lost me. Again, Democrats won't take responsibility. They just can't do it. It's almost as if they're allergic.
I guess the question is, what's going to help? If we can agree with the simple proposition that political violence is bad, whoever perpetrates it and whoever the target is, what's going to help? Senator Curtis, he said he wishes it was top down, and he's referring to the president, by the way, his fellow Republican. But he says that from his view, he's going to start from the bottom with himself and members of his family. What's the best way forward?
I mean, sure, I think everybody should start with themselves as individuals. I mean, clearly you want the very top from the president on down to speak against this, but that's not enough. I mean, I'm not certain if our society today necessarily looks to all of our leaders for guidance. I think you got to have some responsibility as the individual as well. I think sometimes we often say, well, if the leaders would just do this, then everybody will follow.
But I think
and
that's
I'm just not, I'm not necessarily convinced that that's the case anymore, Jim. But if I'm being honest.
Well, you see, that exchange represents exactly what the problem is. Sure, Michael is calm, collective, articulate, just trying to explain his point in a very calm manner. And she's over there talking over him, trying to interrupt him. I mean, if we can't even have a basic exchange of ideas and dialogue to debate in a very calm manner, how are we ever going to get anywhere? It's just so interesting to me. Right? So they want respect. They say that conservatives are the problem. President Trump is the problem. But they're always cutting conservatives off when you see mainstream media. I show you these clips all the time. But at the end of the day, it is true. It's at the individual level where we can truly create change. It starts with you. It starts with me. We got to be the change we want to see. That's why we produce the show the way that we do it. From day one, I always wanted to be like, hey, I don't want to be divisive. I don't want to be on the fringe stuff. I don't want to be in conspiracies. I want people to think for themselves. I want to do it in a very calm, collective way. I want to agree to disagree, and I want to encourage people to do the same. So that's why we do it this way. Now, the White House posted this clip as a tribute to Charlie Kirk, and I want to play it for you so we can end this video off on a good note. Take a look.
Only in America is it possible to say, you know what, I don't like the way the country is going, and to do something about it. Take that risk. Take that leap of faith. Stay involved. Trust God and act obediently. Romans 12:2 verse. That God will use all things for good for those who love him. It's bigger than you. I want you to remember that. It is bigger than you. It's bigger than me. You are here to make somebody else's life better, the pursuit of liberty and freedom. You know what gives me strength? The hundreds of thousands of you that say, Charlie, keep going.
Yep, that's a phenomenal video. There's way more to it. But I want to leave you guys off with this because I want to get your reaction in the comment section below. We have crime issues in this country. We have illegal immigration issues in this country. We have culture issues in this country. There is no shortage of issues in this country. But instead of always trying to focus on the issue and blame the other side for it, why don't we focus on the solutions and try to find some middle ground with that? I don't understand why, if we don't set that intention, why we couldn't accomplish something like that. We can. We've seen it done time and time again in this country throughout all of our history. And in order to do it, we got to set the example. And I believe we are setting the example. And I want to thank you for always supporting this show as we continue to do that. Now, let's hear from you guys in the comment section below. Clearly, the Memphis mayor got the memo. He has responded in a very professional way. He also disagrees with National Guard. But do you see how he did it? Let me know if you see it the same way. Also, this ICE officer who was almost killed today, but hey, it's ICE that's actually terrorizing the neighborhood, not the criminal legal aliens, right? That's what Democrats want us to believe. Let me know your guys' reactions to everything we discussed in this video in the comment section below. Now, in our next video, in case you were too busy earlier this morning, not only did they apprehend the shooter, but he also confessed. And the way he ended up getting into the custody of these authorities is very interesting, by the way, and you're going to want to pay attention to that. So if you missed out on that, including more stories from earlier today, all you have to do is click on that video because it's coming up right now.